Ezra Levant here for Rebel News. I'm standing outside Rumble Live, which was a co-production between Rumble, the free speech live streaming platform, and Rebel. And we had a bunch of great speakers today, including Donald Trump Jr. Bit of a big name there, pretty exciting. Lots of free speech advocacy going on. But the event almost didn't happen. And I want to tell you about that because I have a rule of thumb, which is when people try and extort you, when they try and blackmail you, I think you have a moral obligation to pull the trigger on that and go public with it. And I have to say that we were blackmailed for today's event, not by some criminal, but by the government of Canada. See, the venue we're using, a beautiful venue, is run by a great guy who was happy to have us book both the Rumble event with Don Jr. and the Rebel News Live event on Saturday. And why not? We're good customers. We don't make a mess. Everything's fine. We've been doing these Rebel News Live events for 9 years. Never a problem. We like to have security just to make people feel safe, but we've literally never had a problem in 9 years. So we were proceeding with these events, but something happened, and I guess I should have been alive to it, because Downsview Park, which is the name of this location, it's an old military base. In fact, there's still an airstrip that the Prime Minister uses when he flies to Toronto. So the land underneath these event venues, underneath these sports venues, is still owned by the Government of Canada, by a Crown corporation called Canada Lands Company. Now, it just holds a lot of land, but it's a regular landlord. It's not supposed to be political. It's not supposed to be partisan. It's just to manage the land. Everything was going great until the event venue received a threat from the property manager for Canada Lands Company saying that they have to cancel the event unless they spend $49,000 on unnecessary security. Now, like I said before, we always do hire security. If you've ever been to a Rebel News event, you know that. But the demand from Canada Lands Company was so bizarre and outrageous, to hire dozens of extra security, to hire off-duty Toronto police officers, literally paying cops to be here, even to buy barriers so that if hundreds of protesters come up, we pay for the barriers for them. And they even demanded that we buy 2 porta potties for the protesters. Now, our event owner was terrified of this. He said that if he didn't go along with this, he felt intimidated that they might rip up his lease. And although he's making money off of these events, it certainly couldn't match a lifetime's worth of business that he would lose if he got on the wrong side of the Canada Lands Company. This is the first time he has ever been threatened by them, of course. But it all came together because you know whose jurisdiction Downsview Park is? A crooked Liberal MP named Yara Sachs. Remember her? She's the one who actually went on TV. She stood up in Parliament and said when truckers go honk honk, that actually means Heil Hitler. Take a look at this.
How much vitriol do we have to see of honk honk, which is an acronym for Hail Hitler?
Yeah, she's a total crackpot, but she's a local MP here. And you might remember that recently she flew to Ramallah in the West Bank to meet with the terrorist leader Mahmoud Abbas and pose for a selfie with her, even though Yara Sachs herself is Jewish and would be killed by him. Well, we did a whole campaign about that, driving a billboard truck around the district, even mailing a brochure to her constituents, even doing streeters. Remember this?
Backstabbing us right in front of our face.
Is she actually holding his hand?
I know, it's crazy. Yara Sachs.
Yes, and this is a bad guy.
She has disowned her own people, and I think she's looking for political gains.
I'm not surprised by anything. Am I afraid? I'm very afraid.
Well, revenge of Yara Sachs. We're on her turf, and she wanted us to know it. The Canada Lands Company, which has no business doing politics, which does not get involved with security of a venue, which had no jurisdiction whatsoever, threatened the owner of this venue that if he did not pay $49,000 for these absurd security requirements that were utterly unnecessary. By the way, if I didn't mention it, there's not a single protester here. There never would be. It's absurd. There was no basis for it. It was a cancel culture move where Yara Sachs and the disgraceful property manager for Canada Lands Company, Alan Schacht, demanded basically 50 grand in payola or this thing doesn't go forward. Well, of course, this event isn't going to make $50,000, so neither we nor the event venue operator could pay that. We were going to have to cancel it. Yara Sachs, the disgraced Liberal MP who poses for selfies with terrorists, the Canada Lands Company, a crown corporation that answers to the Trudeau government, they would have their revenge on Rebel News. Well, a miracle presented itself in the form of Rumble.com, which, of course, is the competitor, the free speech competitor to YouTube. And they said, Ezra, we're co-sponsoring the event. We're a multi-billion-dollar company. We'll just pay it. And I was startled by that. And in some ways, I was mad about that because I don't believe in paying a ransom to hostage takers. I don't believe in paying money to a kidnapper or an extortionist like the Canada Lands Company and Alan Schacht, their middleman, or Yara Sachs. I don't believe in paying extortion. But Rumble.com said we've got to have this event go forward. I want you to know that. I want you to know the extortion that was attempted here, and only by the graces of Rumble.com do we proceed. But if you think that Justin Trudeau's corruption doesn't emanate through every institution in this country under his jurisdiction, you're dead wrong. And a special infamy goes to the Toronto Police Service that actually tried to shake us down here. In the end, we did, of course, hire these countless security and police who have been standing around all day. And I'm not mad at any particular security guard or police officer. They're just doing what they're told and getting some overtime pay, whatnot. But the disgraceful Toronto police chief who ordered this, there was no intel of there being any problems here. There was no reason to shake us down other than perhaps they keep arresting Rebel News journalists like David Menzies, and we're suing them. This was revenge of Trudeau and revenge of the disgraceful Toronto Police Service brass. I want you to know that. I did not pay the ransom. Our friends at Rumble did, and I got their permission to tell you about that. But you should know Justin Trudeau, Yara Sachs, Canada Lands Company, and the Toronto Police Service, if they had got their way, this event would never have happened. And when they get Bill C-60 through, their censorship law through, don't think they won't be coming for us and for you. To help us fight back against their censorship bill, which is the central theme of this meeting, go to stopthecensorship.ca.